we're gonna talk about some of the headlines today. For those who are not familiar with Limecraft, we were in the core. Limecraft is still a full functional media asset management system. We were among the first, if not the first, to implement proper speech-to-text transcription. We were definitely the first on hitting hard on automated subtitling project originally commissioned by the BBC. We'll skip the technical details about hybrid cloud architecture, but one thing to mention explicitly is that in July we've undertaken the effort to be certified and evidence-based carbon neutral, which is of specific importance to larger companies that want to do business in Europe. You will be obliged to publish your carbon emissions in the form of a carbon footprint report. If Limecraft is one of your suppliers, you can turn down our contribution to 0. In general, we work for producers, broadcasters, aggregators, post-production facilities, basically anyone who's involved in professional media production. We help you managing storage cost. We help you implementing automated steps in the production process. We help you online collaborating around video productions, and we take care of versioning and content delivery, as some of you may know. So Limecraft's comfort zone is very much in the creative area. We understand how producers and journalists and editors and subtitlers, how they think. We also understand the technical bits. We appreciate there is hundreds of deliverables flowing around, and these deliverables in the form of Word documents or PDFs are conventionally used to plug together the production processes. And it's our ambition to supply our customers with a single portal, making sure everyone is on the same page, literally. One of our flagship projects is Arrow International Media, based in London. They're a very high-end documentary maker, and in July and August, they managed to ingest close to 5,000 hours of raw material. That's a volume which is simply impossible to process by manually. So they're heavily using AI transcription, image recognition for the derushing or the logging of their content. And the head of post-production paid us a visit at IBC last week, and he mentioned that, you know, Limecraft is a type of company that is rather a partner than a supplier or a customer, and that's how we want to be perceived, and that's how we like to be perceived in the market. The full case is on our website. Once more, we will share the slides afterwards, so there's no need to make notes or copy the links. As some of you or most of you know, we operate a release schedule of 8 releases per year. The last one was Tuesday of this week. That was release number 6. The next one will be end of October, and then there will be one mid-December. And for what we would like to talk about today, we'll have a look at Media Intelligence, which was available in private beta in the 5 release, 13th of August. We will be talking in a couple of minutes about how custom statuses can help you managing collections of thousands of items. Happy to announce that if you're in subtitling, you can now also share subtitles as part of online collaboration. So there's no need anymore to create screener files with encoded subtitles. There is now a more elegant way. And we'll also have a look at the smartphone app and usage statistics. But first things first, we'd like to give you a little impression of IBC, where we won the Impact Catalyst Award for our environmental undertakings. And on Saturday, Limecraft also won the award for the best project. The intro is skipped. That was for a specific project with DPG Media, the largest commercial broadcaster in Belgium, for a project called Delivery Workspace. Also there, all information is on our website. And on that note, I would like to give the floor to Robert, who will present you a really brief summary of one of the recent developments we brought to life and were able to present at IBC. Screen share. Please do. Robert or Bob for the friends.
Just minutes.
In case you have any questions in the meantime, while Robert is loading a screen, just either use the chat function. I think you can raise your hand as well as a attendant, or info@limecraft.com. We will be, we're usually short on our mailbox.
Okay, thank you. I will shortly describe this case. It's for a customer making a daily soap, telenovela, real intensive production process. And the question raised was, can you help us in improving the efficiency and the productivity? You need to know that in this kind of workflows, production workflows, there is still a gap between what they call the shoot and the post-production. This is still paperwork. So we were thinking about how can we automate, how can we orchestrate this process by linking file metadata, set metadata, reported by script supervisor, bring it together and automatically generate precuts or sequences which can be handed over to the editor. So in this case, we would automate part of the work of an assistant editor. The components used in this case are a script and pre-production tool, then a tool used on the set, which is called Lockit Network, integrating with the Limecraft workspace, and with our own tools, automating the ingest process for creation of dailies and edit proxies. Every day, the process consists of 4 steps. After the shoot, first step is to collect the file metadata by ingesting the rushes. Second step is to collect the set metadata, which is recorded by the script supervisor. Third step is to combine all this information and create a AAF, which is an editing decision list for the post-production, and then export this one into the post-production. If we quickly go through the 4 steps, the first one, the ingest. In this part, we do audio synchronization, putting video audio together. Also to extract customer or metadata such as the episode scene, shot, take information. In case of multicam, we will do multicam sync to create the group clips. We will create and transfer dailies to the workspace. We will also transcode and transfer the edit proxies to the video storage. As a second step, this is the result of the first step. So you have in the workspace your dailies ordered in a script way, episode, scene, shot, and take. Once this is done, we will collect the set metadata. And just to illustrate, before Script Supervisor was working on paper, those reports were sent over to the post-production. By introducing a Lockit in a digital workflow, by using this application, you structure now your reports. So this is generated by Lockit, and in this one you have all necessary metadata to be able to increase the efficiency in the post-production. This information, after the creation of dailies, is synced with the workspace, and then you have the automatically circled takes, and also the metadata which is coming from or the script and also from Script Supervisor, like which are the bloopers, the director's choice, and any comment. We've built the intelligence into the system to bring it together to prepare the AAF, export the AAF, and as a result, in the editing suite, you get your full bin loaded with one AAF. This AAF is taking about 2 hours per day to be created. In this case, it's a question of a couple of minutes. Just to make this understandable, the AAF, there are 4 parts in it. We have the master clip, the subclips, and the group clips. We will automatically rename them based on the metadata. We will add color codes based upon what is coming from the shoot. We also export the metadata collected by the Script Supervisor, like the circled ones, the synopsis, comments, and so on. We create automatically sequences. In this case, sequences for the subclips, for the master clips, the group clips, circled ones, the bloopers, and so on. And the 4th part is every other information which is collected into the platform. So this gives you the general view of what's automatically created and really a time-saving process. If you go into detail of one of those, we create automatically the sequence. For example, in this case, it's the sequence group clips of all rushes. Customer also asked, give me a sequence of the group clips only circled. So this is how we increase the efficiency and productivity for a daily soap.
Thanks for this demonstration, Robert. I'm resharing my screen. This was obviously this was specifically applicable for those people in production and in fiction production more specifically. There is a good chunk of the people here in the call who are mainly interested in subtitling, but it still gives you an idea on the type of automation we're looking for. And in our DNA, in our core is always, let's recycle any existing information rather than to switch on artificial intelligence, which may be prone to errors and usually eats a lot of CPU power and might be more expensive than you expect. Coming back to the point of the latest release, we'll give you a really quick overview of custom statuses, specifically useful when you're operating very large collections, and shared subtitles, the counting of workflows that's in the bigger picture, it's rather a detail. So what are custom statuses? So many people asked us if in one of these workspaces there are a few thousands of files, and we would like to keep track of which ones are ingested and or quality controlled and or transcribed any process. Can we take that process information and then in a really user-friendly way without too much clicks, can we get an overview of those specific clips or categorize them differently? And for the purpose of the demonstration, for the illustration, we have made a custom status which is indicating graphic content. So for those people who are have an admin role, I'll show you where you can find the custom status setting. Like any other setting, go into workplace settings. Let me center my screen. There you go. And then custom statuses are part of the metadata configuration. So here's where you can add clip metadata. You can configure clean cut or standard metadata fields like date fields, text fields, numerical formats. When you add a field, you can also create a custom status, which is like a rating or a status which you can control based on any combination of other data or state changes. I'll give you an example. Imagine that you would like to filter out all the contents that have been transcribed or not. Then your filter might be transcription status includes editing or completed, not started, and not busy. So we're gonna the ones that get okay or the ones that are labeled as processed will be in editing or completed, and then don't forget to hit the save button. Is there another one? Yeah. Another custom status might be to indicate content not suitable because it's gruesome or bloody content. Then in this case, we're reading information from the text, but we can take information from any workflow change or any other data field, saying this is graphic content or this content is just okay for display. The result, ladies and gentlemen, is that when you look into the library again, where there may be thousands of items, where it becomes challenging to manage them and to navigate your library, these combined statuses, custom statuses, are visualized in one of the columns of the list view, or as an icon on the thumbnail view. And in this case, there are two statuses. One is graphic content. The other one is about the transcription process. So it's displayed in the library view. It becomes part of your advanced search method. And this is for in case you work in a large library, a very convenient way of efficiently managing your workspace. That's for the custom statuses. Before we share the slides, we'll add a hyperlink to the relevant knowledge base pages, so you can have another read without the pressure of a deadline of a webinar. This is particularly, the other interesting feature is particularly interesting for people in subtitling. As there are a few people on the call in the webinar that haven't seen Limecraft before, please allow me to show you what we mean with AI subtitling. So after an initial pass of transcription, which nowadays is very, very accurate. So the transcription algorithm, the automatic speech recognition, will even recognize unfinished sentences, proper names, etc. It's become very, very accurate the last 24 months. But transcription is the easy part. Then turning this transcript into broadcast-grade subtitles, taking into account shot changes, taking into account your styling and timing rules, that's the difficult part. Obviously, line breaks must follow the punctuation marks. For the deaf and the hard of hearing, we need to swap colors between two different speakers. I'll just click on the play button, and it's Dutch.
Dankzij zijn boekje komen we veel te weten over het leven.
Dat boekje komt echt wel uit de middeleeuwen.
These are not professional actors. It's actually a fiction series for children, which is being subtitled by one of our customers in the subtitling business, specialized subtitling company, and they're saving a lot of time using this automated process. This was not new. I'm just illustrating this to explain how it works in Limecraft. But when you then wanted to show the result of your work to your customer, the broadcaster, or who else is approving the work, people often had to make a screener file. So take the video file, take the subtitles, import it in Adobe Premiere or in a similar tool, and render the file, then use Vimeo for screening. We've now added subtitles as part of the sharing function. So now you don't need to use Vimeo or Frame.io anymore for sharing. You can select a specific collection or number of clips, create a shared link, send that link to another party that needs to approve these clips, and then you can, the receiver of that link can hit the playout button.
Ja, maar toch nee, Sofian.
Sommige niet.
Deze wel. Oei, joh, geef terug.
And switch on the subtitles in the player. It looks simple, it feels simple, but knowing that you don't need to wait for another proxy to be rendered, that saves you, if you're in the business, several hours per week. And the receiving end, your customer, the broadcaster, can then approve or reject the item, which can then trigger the following steps in the process. As a last bit, interesting for those in the call that are on really large databases or large collections, in the workflow overview, if you have access to them as a system administrator, when you're searching for specific types of workflows that ran into an error or that were about in a specific data, or if you're searching for workflows, the search box will now immediately indicate the number of workflows that are subject to one of these choices. This was also a frequently asked question. That's basically it for at least the most important bits for the 26 24/6 release. The other bit which we wanted to surface during this call is about media intelligence. Media intelligence, we've been working on it for 24 months now, almost 24 months, partially funded by the Flemish government. We appreciate their support. So based on the assertion that standard off-the-shelf AI services are usually not good enough for professional purposes. You don't want subtitles based on automatic speech recognition on antenna without quality control or at least spot checks. And we've asked ourselves the question, what do we need to do? What other information do we need to take into account to manipulate AI services? How can we influence AI? How can we blend it with the right human input so that it returns a much more reproducible and useful result? And after spending plenty of time in experimenting, it's not rocket science. What we need to do in a professional context, there is always plenty of documents, call sheets, production briefings, dope sheets in news, shot lists, information coming from Lockit for the matter. This is the type of information which we're going to inject into the AI pipeline. And on top of that, we're going to pick the brain of the user. If, as a journalist for a big international news agency, if we know you are looking for international politicians, then we should restrict image recognition to a short list of the 250 most prominent international politicians. And the same goes with speech-to-text transcription. If we can feed it with a list of names, all of a sudden it starts performing much better, also for recognizing proper names. The particular example which we showed earlier, Kids on the Block, it's about a group of youngsters in beautiful Ghent, Belgium. There is a huge Turkish minority here in Belgium, so the program is about Yunus, Murat, Yasmin, names which are typically wrongly spelled by a Dutch speech-to-text engine. By giving the list of names, which is obviously known from the casting documents, all of a sudden transcription and subtitling is 100% accurate, at least close to 100% accurate. So that was this example, and an even more spectacular example is the results we got from using a large language model for those who are have a technical background. So we've been experimenting with ChatGPT and the similar application from Anthropic called Claude. And we're using it for chaptering and summarizing content. The results are beyond our expectations. So we give it a transcript, we give it the output of image recognition. Yes, we give it all the available documents we can get our hands on from production, and we boil it down to logical items. So it's doing key event detection. It creates an abstract, an item around each of these key events, and it returns a title and a summary and the main topics of each of the chapters. This is basically automating the work of the preparatory work, which typically happens in a news agency. You give it a feed of raw material. That can be a political top conference, a feed of 1 or 2 hours, and the machine will return an accurate, reproducible description of what happens in the images. Successfully deployed for entertainment producers like the Chinezen and Hotel Bonka, and news agencies in a couple of European countries by now. It's very, very successful. So if you're interested in having a look at how this could work for your particular application, feel free to reach out or drop us a note. Considering the smartphone application, we unfortunately couldn't get it finished by IBC, so it's going to be end of October rather than last week, but we're in the last stretch. It's basically the sharing function which will be available in the on a smartphone. So if you're sharing a couple of items for a review, playout, commenting with a third party, if they're opening the link on a smartphone, it will open a native app rather than trying to open a browser on the smartphone, which is much more convenient. You literally have your production material in your hands. And the usage reporting is also brand new, early stage. In fact, it's pre-alpha. This is a collaboration with a Belgian company called Lismo. It's comparable with Google Data Studio or Looker or what's the other one, Tableau. So we're gonna feed it with all the details of the workflows and the events in a production. And for the account managers, and I know there are a few on the call here today, for the account managers, it will return you accurate insights of how many ingests, how many hours have been transcribed, subtitled, and for the matter, for the person of Eclair, it will also show you the number of users and the number of the activity, the engagement of the users in the last or in a certain period. And that brings us to a conclusion of this webinar.